The internet is unstable. Hmm. Sandali lang. Okay, good day again. Now we'll be what? We'll be proceeding into your brainstem. Okay. So basically, when we talk about your brainstem, you have studied them in your higher center, and we're talking about what? We're talking about your midbrain, your pons, and your medulla oblongata. Okay. So basically, uh, you have here your different tracts arising from your arising from your brainstem. You have your reticulo, vestibulo, and your tectospinal tract. From the word itself, it goes towards the spinal cord and your rubrospinal tract. Okay, we consider the three of them: the reticulo. Okay, wait. We consider your reticulospinal to vestibulospinal tract up to tectospinal tract as medial descending pathways because they will descend on the medial side of the spinal cord. Rubrospinal tract, on the other hand, will descend with your lateral corticospinal tract, and they will be what considered as lateral descending pathways. Okay, I'll show you later on after reviewing your brainstem. Okay, so remember your brainstem. Okay, on the ventral side, so you'll have your ventral side of your brainstem. So you'll have here your uh, midbrain, you have here your pons, and you have here your medulla oblongata. Okay, so whenever I lecture on this one, I would always say that you have your ice cream cone. Okay, and then you'll have your one scoop of your ice cream, and these are your choco sticks that is pierced inside your one scoop of your ice cream. Of course, you know that if the medulla oblongata, okay, exits or passes through the foramen magnum, if this is the foramen magnum, okay, they become your spinal cord. Okay, so that's the ventral aspect of your brainstem, and this is the dorsal aspect of your brainstem. Okay. Uh, so the cerebral peduncle. Okay, so this is your cerebral peduncle. Okay, the cerebral peduncle is represented on the dorsal surface as your corpora quadrigemina, meaning you have corpora, corpus, you'll have your bodies, okay, and then they are quadri, so because there are four, okay, there are four bodies, kaya you call them your corpora quadrigemina. The two will be the superior colliculus, and the other two below will be your inferior colliculi. Okay, so you'll have here this. Okay. And you know, on the dorsal aspect, you have the floor of your fourth ventricle. You call the floor of the fourth ventricle. It is diamond in shape. That's your rhomboid fossa, rhomboid. Okay, and then you'll have here your, in the medulla oblongata, you'll have here your dorsomedian sulcus. Okay, so that's your dorsomedian sulcus. Lateral to your dorsomedian sulcus will be your dorso intermediate sulcus. Okay, now you have now, of course, again, this is the right, this is the left, this is the right, this is the left. Now, because of your dorso intermediate sulcus, you now divide each side into four swellings. You'll have your fasciculus gracilis on the medial side, fasciculus cuneatus on the lateral side. Okay? And of course, you have here your swelling of your fasciculus gracilis. That's your gracile, uh, your gracile tubercle. And you have here your cuneate tubercle. Again, a gracile and a cuneate tubercle. Okay. Now, on the medial side, on the other hand, of course, you have your dividing your ventral surface of your uh, medulla oblongata. You have your anteromedian fissure, and dividing your each of your left and right side, okay, of your ventral surface of your medulla oblongata, okay, is your ventrolateral sulcus. Your ventrolateral sulcus, dividing them into pyramid and your olive. And of course, this one is your dorsolateral sulcus. So this is your dorsolateral sulcus. Okay, so you'll see them on the lateral side. Okay, this is the dorsolateral sulcus on the dorsal aspect, and this is the dorsolateral sulcus on the ventral aspect. Okay, so why am I drawing this? Because you needed to know that this is also part of your lower center. Lower center because it is part of higher center. If we talk about the higher functions or higher center functions, it is part of the lower center like your spinal cord. Okay, it is the origin of your cranial nerves, right? In your spinal cord, on the other hand, okay, oh, bakit ayaw? Chinan, ayaw lumipat, ayaw lumipat. Okay, dali lang. Ba't ayaw lumipat? Ah, okay. Dali lang. Ba't ayaw lumipat? Ah, oo nga. Okay. So, let's go back. Okay. So, basically, you'll see here. Okay. Ito muna yung anuhin natin. Unahin natin kasi nga pala hindi nga pala kahit lipatin ko ng whiteboard nga pala ito. Okay, I'm writing on the other screen. Okay, so again, these are the drawings that you'll have to remember on your brainstem. Okay, pag spinal cord kasi yan, ganito yan, diba? So yung origin naman ng spinal nerve, diba? This is your spinal nerve. On the other hand, so you'll see here that what you have here your you'll have here your anterior horn cells. Okay, ito naman yung motor neuron. Remember, pag dinodrawing ko sa inyo sa muscle physiology yan. Okay, and then this is your posterior root ganglion. Okay, so you would see that your spinal cord is parts of the higher and the lower center. We talk about them as parts of the lower center because of the origin of your spinal nerve. Okay? Samantalang, pag brain, oh my gosh, ay nako, let's draw it again. Sorry, gawin kong, okay, drawing ulit natin. Ito ulit yung ventral surface, ito ulit yung dorsal surface. Okay, ito ulit yung midbrain. On the ventral aspect, we call them your cerebral peduncle. That's your pons. And this is your medulla oblongata. Diba? As it passes through the foramen magnum, it becomes the spinal cord. On the dorsal aspect, the cerebral peduncle will be represented by 4 bodies. Okay, your corpora quadrigemina. The two above will be your superior colliculi. The two below will be your inferior colliculus or colliculi, kasi plural. And then you'll have here your corpora quadrigemina. I'm sorry, your rhomboid fossa. They become the floor of the fourth ventricle. It's your dorso-median fissure, sulcus, should I say. This is dorso-intermediate. So this is your gracile tubercle, This is your cuneate tubercle, So this is fasciculus gracilis, and this is fasciculus cuneatus, fasciculus gracilis. Okay. And then this is your ventromedian fissure. You'll have here your ventrolateral, okay, sulcus. So this is pyramid, that is olive. This is dorsolateral sulcus. This is dorsolateral sulcus. Okay. Why am I drawing this? Because of the origin of your cranial nerves again. Okay. So your cranial nerve number 3 emerges from your interpeduncular fossa. That's your cranial nerve number 3. Your cranial nerve number 4 emerges from the dorsal aspect. Okay, so if this is the right side and this is the left side, okay, you'll see that the cranial nerve number 4 on the left side from the inferior colliculus will loop around, okay, towards the ventral aspect, and it will go out here. Okay, while the one found on the left, or on the right, should I say, okay, will go towards the left side. Okay, and it will loop around, go towards the ventral aspect. So, yung cranial nerve number 4 galing sa likod, pupunta sa harapan. Okay? And then, of course, baguhin natin yung kulay. Ito yung cranial nerve number 4. Okay, para hindi kayo, yan. Yan. And then, you'll have your cranial nerve number 5 on the mid-pons. Okay, that's the largest cranial nerve on the mid-pons. And then, of course, on the medial aspect, you'll have here cranial nerve number 6. Then, lateral to cranial nerve number 6 will be cranial nerve number 7. Okay? Tapos, itong angle, the angle, okay, this angle, okay, that angle, this angle, that angle, it is where you would have your cranial nerve number 8. So, nandiyan dyan yung cranial nerve number 8. Kaya nga sa pontomedullary angle, this is your pons, this is your medulla oblongata, that's your pons, this is medulla oblongata. You'll see there, this is their angle. Okay, it is where you emerge your cranial nerve number 8. Okay, kaya nga, if you will have acoustic neuroma, so basically it's a tumor on the angle, the first cranial nerve that will be affected, of course, will be cranial nerve number 8. Pag lumaki pa further, then it will already affect cranial nerve number 7. And pag malaki talaga, it will affect even cranial nerve number 6. You all know the functions of these cranial nerves, right? Now, on the upper medulla oblongata, you'll see here your cranial nerve number 9. Okay. Below cranial nerve number 9 would be cranial nerve number 10. Okay. And then cranial nerve number 11 will be emerging from, okay, the spinal cord, even on the brainstem. So this is cranial nerve number 11. Okay. And then cranial nerve number 12 will be emerging from the pontomedullary sulcus, or your dorsolateral, or should I say ventrolateral sulcus. Okay. Your ventrolateral sulcus. That's your cranial nerve, rootlets of cranial nerve number 12. That is why when you talk about cranial nerves emerging from the brainstem, particularly that of the midbrain, okay, that will be cranial nerves numbers 3, and 4. Those emerging from the pons will be 5, 6, 7, and 8. Emerging from medulla oblongata, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Right? And then, when you divide them further, paano yon? When you divide them further, when you divide them further, sige na nga, black na lang gagamitin kong kulay. Okay. When you divide them further, okay, you draw a line here. On the upper medulla oblongata, you'll have cranial nerve number 3. Lower medulla oblongata, you'll have cranial nerve number 4. And then, you divide this into this. On the mid-pons, you'll have cranial nerve number. On the lower pons, you'll have cranial nerve number. Dyan. And then, you divide them into upper medulla oblongata and lower medulla oblongata. In the upper medulla oblongata, you'll have cranial nerves number. And in the lower medulla oblongata, you'll have cranial nerves numbers. Ayan, ha? Nakikita ninyo, nagle-Leandro Villa dyan. Okay? So, worth noting will be cranial nerve number 3, or should I say number 4, because it emerges from the dorsal aspect. Okay? The left side will give rise to your, the left inferior colliculus will give rise to your right cranial nerve number 4. The right inferior colliculus will give rise to your left cranial nerve number 4. And you know the implications of that. Why? Remember, when you cut them cross-sectionally at the level of the superior colliculus, that will be at the level of the upper midbrain, or you cut them at the level of the inferior colliculus, that will be at the level of the lower midbrain. You have already your lectures in your brainstem, in your neuroanatomy, right? So if you would look at the structure at the level of superior colliculus, okay. So you'll have here your what? Your substantia nigra, Again, you'll have your 2 red nuclei. Okay. You know that this is at the level of the superior colliculus. So that's the nucleus of your superior colliculus. And then you'll have here your iter, or your aqueduct of Sylvius. You have your 2 red nuclei. So you'll have the emergence of your what? Your nucleus. That's your accessory oculomotor nucleus, right? And then this is your what? Your main oculomotor nuclei. So they have their axons. They will give rise to your cranial nerve number 2 on the right side, on the left side. Should I say 3? Okay, you'll have your cranial nerve number 3 on the right and on the left side. That will be at the level of your superior colliculus, or at the level of your upper midbrain. Nandiyan dyan yung inyong blue, yan yung inyong main oculomotor nucleus. Yung iba, ang tawag dyan ay that's main oculomotor, or simply oculomotor nucleus. And then, the yellow one would be your accessory oculomotor nucleus. Ang iba, ang tawag dyan ay Edinger-Westphal nucleus. Okay? Their axons will form your nerve. You know, again, okay, when we call them nucleus, it means it's a collection of nerve cell body within the central nervous system. You know your parts of your neuron, di ba? Your nerve cell body, or your soma, or your pericardion, your dendrites, and your axon. Okay, the axons will form your cranial nerve number 3, and that will be motor cranial nerves. Di ba? You know that cranial nerve number 3 has main oculomotor nucleus, that's somatic, and your Edinger-Westphal nucleus is autonomic nervous system. So you would have to know ano yung somatic divisions, ano yung ini-innervate, ano ang ini-innervate ng accessory oculomotor or ng autonomic nervous system, such that pag nasira sila, ano yung magiging manifestations. Diba? The other one would be what? At the level of the lower midbrain. So pag at the level of the lower midbrain, andyan pa rin naman yung colliculus ninyo, but this time, they are your inferior colliculi. Tapos ito pa rin naman yung crus cerebri or your cerebral peduncle, at ito pa rin naman yung substantia nigra. Diba? But this time, wala na yung dalawang nuclei. Instead, you have your decussation of the superior cerebellar peduncle. Tapos, nandiyan dyan yung iyong oculomotor nucleus. Diba? Again, if this is the right and this is the left, the right trochlear nucleus will give rise to your left cranial nerve number 4. The left trochlear nucleus will give rise to your right cranial nerve number 4. So pag ang nasira yung nucleus, then manifestation will be contra ipsi. As compared, pagka ang nasira naman ay ang nerve, then manifestation would be so this is nuclear. Pagka yung nucleus ang nasira, nuclear yan. Tapos infranuclear pag yung mismong nerve ang nasira. Above that, the descending fiber tract, then that will be supranuclear. Okay? So ganun yon. So balikan ninyo yung mga cross sections ninyo ng bawat levels ng brainstem. Okay? So halos kaparehas yan ng spinal cord. Sorry, erasin ko ito kasi kahit nag-prepare ako ng 3 blank white slides, hindi pala pwede na pag nilipat ko supposedly hindi may erase yan, kaso may erase pala yan. So I'll have to erase this. In your spinal cord, on the other hand, diba? Ito yung inyong spinal cord. Ito yung gray matter sa gitna. Remember that? Okay. Tapos ito yung spinal nerve. Siyempre, ito din yung spinal nerve. Diba? You know that your spinal nerve, okay, is a combination based on Bell-Magendie law. Diba? Sa kay Bell-Magendie, this is posterior, this is anterior. According to Bell-Magendie again, anterior, the function would be sensory. Anterior, the function will be motor. Posterior, the function will be sensory. Therefore, okay, ito yung posterior root ganglion ninyo, na lagi ninyong tinatawag na dorsal root ganglion. Pero dahil upright tayo, then it's posterior root ganglion. Again, hindi natin pinagbabaliktad ang we do not use the term posterior and dorsal interchangeably in your neurology, as well as anterior and ventral. So ito yung posterior root ganglion ninyo. You know that classification based on the number of process, it is pseudo-unipolar. Alam nyo na yon ever since first semester. Okay? Pseudo-unipolar, so you'll have one process emerging from the nerve cell body, then it divides into an axon and a dendrite. Tapos yung anterior horn ninyo, doon nag-emerge yung nerve cell body ng motor neuron. Then this is your axon. So you'll have a dendrite and an axon. Kaya nga ang inyong spinal nerve is a combination of the sensory neuron, and a motor neuron. If this is your skeletal muscle, okay, then it innervates your skeletal muscle. Okay, sensory innervation would be posterior root ganglion. Motor innervation will be the anterior horn cells. Okay, the anterior horn cells can be alpha or gamma motor neuron. Remember the classifications of your nerve fibers, di ba? Yung A, B, C, yung capitals A, B, and C will be based on the diameter. Yung numbers, Roman numerals numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be all sensory. Yung hindi lang tayo sigurado kung sensory or motor will be the alpha, beta, gamma. Pag mga alpha at gamma, motor neurons yan. Pag delta, fast pain, so sensory yan. Pag beta, it's an interneuron. So pag interneuron, di nasa gitna sila ng sensory at saka ng motor neuron. Pwede silang sensory in function, pwede silang motor in function. Example ng interneuron or association neuron na sensory in function would be your nucleus of Tractus solitarius or your solitary tract nucleus. Example naman ng interneuron or association neurons na motor ang function ay nucleus ambiguous. Remember them? So, balikan nyo sila ulit sa inyong first semester at saka yung inyong lecture sa neuroanatomy. So, naka-integrate ang neuroanatomy at neurophysiology. Actually, lahat ng mga subjects ninyo, nagkaka-integrate sila, nagkakasama-sama sila, yung anatomy, yung histology, mga functions, yung mga structures, yung mga yon, yung mga structures na yon will have their functions. We discuss them in physiology. If we go molecular, then that becomes biochemistry. So, ito yung mga dapat ninyong tinatandaan. Okay? Now, let's now go to your descending fiber tracts. Okay? Pag pinag-usapan natin descending fiber tracts, then we divide your descending fiber tracts into pyramidal system and your extrapyramidal system. Diba? Or your pyramidal tract and your extrapyramidal tracts. So, ano-ano yung mga pyramidal tracts ninyo? Dalawang klase. Okay? You have your corticospinal tract and you have your corticobulbar tract. Yung extrapyramidal system ninyo, yun yung apat na pinakita natin kanina. That will be your vestibulospinal tract, your reticulospinal tract, your tectospinal tract, and your rubrospinal tract. Ito, medial descending pathways. Bakit? Medial descending tract. They descend on the medial side of the spinal cord. Go back on your neuroanatomy. Okay? Rubrospinal is lateral descending pathway or lateral descending tract. It joins your lateral corticospinal tract. So your corticospinal tract would be further divided into lateral and medial. Ang ibang pangalan ng medial ay anterior corticospinal tract. Siyempre, pinagbabaliktad nila sa ventral or ginagamit din nila yung word na ventral corticospinal tract. Corticobulbar will just be corticobulbar tract. Okay? So, tatandaan nyo yan. Okay? Pag-uusapan natin sila, i-correlate natin sila sa bawat isa. So, ito again, the lateral corticospinal tract joins your rubrospinal tract at the level of your spinal cord. They become part of your lateral descending pathway. The medial corticospinal tract joins your other four extrapyramidal system. They become your medial descending pathways. Okay? They join these tracts, different tracts at the level of the spinal cord. Okay? Corticobulbar, from the word itself, bulbo. It means, or bulba or bulbo, it means brainstem. So, paano yon? Pag-usapan muna natin yung pyramidal system. So, this is your box. This is your box. So, if this is the cerebrum, this is the midbrain. I'm sorry. Huwag muna midbrain. Thalamus muna. Okay. This is the thalamus. This is the midbrain. This is the pons. This is the medulla oblongata. This is your spinal cord level. Spinal cord level. Dali. Tanggalin natin yung SC. Okay. Gawin natin makatotohanan ng spinal cord. Kunwari, makatotohanan tapos kunwari. Central canal. Tapos ito ulit yung spinal nerve. Spinal nerve. Spinal nerve. Okay, so this is the right side. This is the left side. Okay, let's do that. Replicate that here. Okay, this is the cerebrum. This is the thalamus. This is your midbrain. This is your pons. This is your medulla oblongata. Again, this is your level ng spinal cord. Level ng spinal cord. Level ulit ng spinal cord. Okay. Ganyan ulit. So, let's first talk about corticobulbar tract. So, pag-usapan natin yung corticobulbar tract. So, saan magsisimula si corticobulbar tract? From, of course, the right side, the left side. That will be from the, yung kanina, yung previous lectures natin sa Motor 1. Saan sila nanggagaling? Si association areas. Sa association areas of the cerebrum. Saan yung mga association areas commonly? At the parietal lobe. 40% of your corticobulbar tract, of your pyramidal system in general. Remember, yung pyramidal system, it's made up of corticospinal tract and your corticobulbar tract. 40% of your pyramidal tract or pyramidal system emerges from the association areas, and that would be your parietal lobe. 40% of your descending fiber tract arose. Okay, they are coming from the 40% of them are coming from the parietal lobe. Your 60% will be coming from your premotor, supplementary motor, and your primary motor area. That will be in your frontal lobe. Okay? From there, it descends into your thalamus. Diba? It descends into your thalamus. Passing through, ano yung motor portion ng ating thalamus? Ventroanterior and ventrolateral nuclei. And then, it goes towards the midbrain. Okay? Your corticobulbar tract, okay, is formed by what? They will innervate or they will influence the activity of all motor cranial nerves. Napansin nyo kanina sa drawing natin, you have how many cranial nerves? 12. We don't have cranial nerves numbers 1 and 2 emerging from or going into the brainstem. Why? Because 1 and 2, yung 1 natin, that's nose. So basically, it's olfactory neuron. Okay? Papasok na siya sa cribriform plate of the ethmoid. If you know your cribriform plate of the ethmoid from your gross anatomy, tapos pupunta na siya ano yung naka-rest doon sa cribriform plate of the ethmoid ninyo, yung olfactory bulb and yung olfactory tract ninyo. Go back on the figure of olfactory tract and bulb in your cerebrum. Pinag-aralan nyo sa gross anatomy, pinag-aralan nyo sa neuroanatomy yon. So, papasok na siya doon, nandoon na yung interneurons niya, papunta na siya doon sa olfactory sulcus. Papunta na siya doon sa rhinal sulcus. Sa inyong primary olfactory area, area 34 on the medial side of the temporal lobe. Yung cranial nerve number 2 naman will be emerging from the retina. Remember your 10 layers of the retina, yung pinakahuling cell, yung interneurons ninyo or association neuron na ganglion cell, all the axons will form your cranial nerve number 2 on the other hand. Okay? Kaya dito, cranial nerves numbers 3 to 12. Tapos, ano yon? All motor cranial nerves will be, the activity of which will be influenced by corticobulbar tract except cranial nerves numbers 3, 4, and 6. Because 3, 4, and 6 will form your what? Your medial longitudinal fasciculus. So they are bundled as medial longitudinal fasciculus. So 3, 4, and 6 ay hindi nai-impluensyahan or partially na-impluensyahan siya ng corticobulbar tract but through your medial longitudinal fasciculus, not directly. Okay? So yung corticobulbar tract mo from the origin, that will be 40% from the association areas, 60% from the motor areas. It descends into the ventrolateral, ventromedial nuclei of your thalamus. Anong mangyayari? Sa upper midbrain, meron ba siyang impluensyahan na cranial nerve? Ano yung nasa upper midbrain na cranial nerve? Sa lower midbrain, meron ba siyang i-impluensyahan na cranial nerve? Anong cranial nerve ang nasa lower midbrain? What about sa midpons? Meron ba silang i-impluensyahan sa midpons? So that will be cranial nerve number 5. So cranial nerve number 5 on the ipsilateral side and cranial nerve number 5 on the contralateral side. Diba? So ganun din dito. Ipsilateral cranial nerve number 5 and contralateral cranial nerve number 5. Ano pa? Impluensyahan din nila yung ipsilateral cranial nerve number 7 and contralateral cranial nerve number 7. Okay? Tapos, bababa sila. 5. Tapos, bababa sila. Ipsilateral 9 and contralateral 9. Ipsilateral 10 and contralateral 10. Ipsilateral 11 and contralateral 11. And contralateral 12. So basically, your corticobulbar tract, magsisimula silang impluensyahan ang cranial nerve na nasa midpons. Diba? Ipsilateral midpons and contralateral midpons. Anong cranial nerve yon? Tapos, ipsilateral cranial nerve number 7, contralateral cranial nerve number 7. Bakit hindi kasama ang 6? Again, medial longitudinal fasciculus. Yung 8, ano ba yon? Motor ba yon? And then, bababa sa medulla oblongata, ipsilateral 9, contralateral 9, ipsilateral 10, contralateral 10, ipsilateral 11, contralateral 11, and contralateral 12. So whatever happens on the right side will also happen on the left side. So ganun din ang gagawin. Corticobulbar tract yan. So ibig sabihin, corticobulbar tract influences bilateral cranial nerve motor nuclei o nucleus, nerve cell body, di ba? So basically, ipsilateral and contralateral. So bilateral ang influence niya sa cranial nerve nuclei na kanyang ini-influence and contralateral 12. Meron pa tayong contralateral 7 later on pag pumunta tayo sa face. You will have to compare that with your corticospinal tract. So ito yung corticospinal tract natin. Again, this is the right side, this is the left side. Like the origin of your corticobulbar tract, 40% will be coming from the association areas, and your 60% will be coming from your motor areas. From there, it will descend towards the thalamus as well. So thalamus as well, ventrolateral, ventroanterior nuclei, and descends on the midbrain, descends on the pons, descends on the medulla oblongata. At the lower medulla oblongata, it will decussate, okay, 90% of which will decussate, and it will descend on the lateral spinal cord, lateral aspect of the spinal cord, lateral white matter. Hence, it becomes your lateral corticospinal tract. 10% will descend ipsilaterally, okay, to be known as the And it will descend on the, sandali, erase natin yan para makatotohanan kunwari. So, 10% will descend ipsilaterally. Ay, nako, nawala yung linya doon. Lagyan natin itong linya dito. So, again, 10% will descend ipsilaterally into the medial side of the white matter of the spinal cord. Okay? It is now known as your medial corticospinal tract. Oh. Sasamahan niya yung vestibulo, reticulo, at saka tectospinal tracts. Okay? Yung lateral corticospinal tract, sasamahan niya yung rubrospinal tract. Okay? Ito yung pyramidal system. What is the function of your lateral corticospinal tract? It will influence the flexor activities or the flexor, it will influence the motor neurons that innervates the flexor muscles of the lower extremities. So, especially the distal lower extremities. So, ang lateral corticospinal tract influences the activity of the motor neurons that will innervate the flexor muscles of the distal lower extremities. Samantalang ang medial corticospinal tract, it will influence the activity of the motor neurons innervating the flexor muscles of the upper, that will be the distal upper extremity. So in short, ang ini-influence ng inyong medial corticospinal tract, yung mga flexor muscles ng distal upper extremity, samantalang yung lateral corticospinal tract, distal lower extremities. So basically the legs and the feet. Samantalang ang medial corticospinal tract, yung inyong mga forearm and your hands, your wrist, your hands. Okay? Flexors. So, i-flex nila. Sila yung taga-flex. Sila yung magi-influence ng motor neurons na mag-flex. Yan yung functions ng inyong lateral and your medial corticospinal tract. I would like to keep this one, kaso nga lang, pag nilipat ko sa another whiteboard, hindi naman sila na-erase. Pero ito yon, tandaan nyo siya. Balikan nyo na lang sa video. Okay? Erase natin ngayon. Okay? So, paano naman po yung mga pathways emerging from the brainstem? So, lahat yon, corticobulbar tract, corticospinal tract, ang diniscuss natin ay ano? Galing sila saan? Galing sila sa cerebrum. Paano po yung mga galing sa brainstem? So, yung mga sinasabi natin kanina, ito ulit yung inyong cerebrum. Ito naman yung inyo ulit na thalamus. Tapos, ito yung iyong midbrain. Ito yung pons. Ito yung medulla oblongata. At ito ngayon yung spinal cord. Yan ngayon yung spinal cord, spinal cord, spinal cord. Okay? So, again, this is the right side, this is the left side. Let's start with rubrospinal tract. Rubor. Diba? It's red. So, saan sila nagsisimula? Sa red nucleus ng upper midbrain. Diba? Nandoon lang naman yung red nucleus sa upper midbrain. So, from the red nucleus of the upper midbrain, it decussates immediately on the dorsal tegmental decussation. Okay? And then, it will go towards the contralateral side. Okay? And it descends on the lateral aspect of the spinal cord, becoming the rubrospinal tract. So yan yung rubrospinal tract. At ano ang kanyang ini-influence? By the way, it will only descend up to the upper thoracic. That will be the upper 6th thoracic vertebra, influencing only the spinal nerves up to the upper thoracic vertebra, upper 6 thoracic vertebra. So yung mga motor neurons doon, yun lang ang kanyang ini-influence. Particularly, ini-influence niya ang activity ng ng motor neurons innervating the flexor muscles of the distal upper extremities. So kapares ng medial corticospinal tract, the rubrospinal tract innervates motor neurons that will innervate or influences the activity of motor neurons innervating the flexor surfaces or the flexor muscles of the distal upper extremities. So taga-flex din siya ng forearm ng mga hand. Okay? Ganun yon. Ganun ang ginagawa nila. So, what about the reticulospinal tract? So, the reticulospinal tract, on the other hand, will be coming from the reticular formation in the pons and reticular formation in the medulla oblongata. Okay? So, they will descend ipsilaterally, descending into the entire spinal cord. They influence the ipsilateral or the activity of the ipsilateral motor neurons that will innervate the extensors of your upper and lower extremities. So, ini-influence nila ang activities ng motor neurons na magi-innervate ng extensors ng upper and lower extremities. So, generally, ang inyong reticulospinal tract, okay, they will innervate your extensors of your upper and lower extremities. Ganun din actually yung vestibulospinal tract. You have your vestibular nucleus or nuclei from the pons, vestibular nuclei from the medulla oblongata. So, they will all join together. Both of them will join together on the medial aspect, okay, of your spinal cord. And they will also innervate the extensor surface of your, should I say, the motor neurons that will innervate the extensor muscles of your upper and lower extremities. So, in short, yung vestibulospinal tract at reticulospinal tract, okay, both of them will be responsible for extensions. So, extension of your upper and lower extremity. For rubrospinal tract, it is responsible for flexion of the upper extremity. Again ito ay flexion ng distal surface or distal upper extremity. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating distal upper extremity, yun yung forearm at saka yung mga wrists at saka yung mga hand. At saka yung mga, syempre, phalanges, hand in general. Okay? Yan yung function nila. So, alam nyo na yung, and then of course, your tectospinal tract from the word itself, tectum. So, pag sinabi nating tectum, di ba yung inyong brainstem kanina na cross-section. Diba? Ito ulit yung level ng red nucleus. Yan ulit yung substantia nigra. Ito ulit yung level ng inferior colliculus, substantia nigra, decussation of the superior cerebellar peduncle. Na pag-aralan ninyo sa neuroanatomy, pagka yung roof ng galing, then that is tectum. Diba? Pag ito, portion, that's tegmentum, that's the base, tegmentum. Tapos, that's the base, that's the floor, should I say. Okay? Tapos ito, kung saan nandun ang crus cerebri or cerebral peduncle, that's the base. Diba? So, tectospinal tract, tectum. So, saan yon? Galing sa superior colliculi at galing sa inferior colliculi. Para saan na nga ang superior colliculus ninyo? Remember, that's superior colliculus because it's the level of the upper midbrain. Bakit upper midbrain? Kasi may red nucleus kayo doon. Okay? So, superior colliculus, ano yung kanyang function? Vision. Diba? Inferior colliculus, ano ang kanyang function? For audition or hearing. Diba? So, pag may narinig kayo, may nakita kayo, magkakaroon ng what? There will be movement of your neck, your head, and your upper trunk towards the side kung saan mo nakita, or yung mga what do you call that, striking na nakita mo para mag-turn yung head mo, yung neck mo, at yung upper trunk mo towards that side. O pag may narinig ka, may sumutsot sa'yo, psst, psst, sabi sa'yo. So, anong ginagawa mo? Nagtuturn yung head mo, yung neck mo, at saka yung upper trunk mo towards that side. Then what will be responsible for that? It's your tectospinal tract. So your tectospinal tract starts from the tectum, the superior and the inferior colliculus or colliculi. Then it will descend up to the upper 6 thoracic vertebra as well. Para ma-turn mo yung neck mo, yung head mo, and yung upper trunk mo onto the side where you saw something, or onto the side where you heard something. Okay? That's your tectospinal tract. Okay? Your tectospinal tract will form one band at the level of the spinal cord, that will be cervical spinal cord, with your medial longitudinal fasciculi. Okay? So, yan yung mga tracts. Okay? Yan yung mga medial, or yan yung mga extrapyramidal tracts. Okay? Let us erase on that. Balikan nyo na lang ulit yan mamaya. Ano pa yung dapat ninyong alam? Di yung muka. Okay? That's your eye. This is your nose. This is your mouth. Ito ngayon yung ayan. Makapal na labi. Tapos, that's not your hair. That's not your hair. That will just be a division between a lower against an upper motor neuron. Okay? Ano po yan? Sandali lang. Ito yung nerve cell body. Nerve cell body at the level of the, ano nga yung motor sa inyong face? What is motor to your face? Anong cranial nerve ang motor sa face mo? This is your corticobulbar tract. Your corticobulbar tract. Remember kanina, yung pinag-aralan nating corticobulbar tracts. This is the right side. This is the right side. This is the left side. Okay? Now, you divide your face into what? So you divide your face into right face and left face by means of your nose. Okay? Anything right to your nose will be right face. Anything left to your nose will be left face. And then, from the, from the lower lid, you divide your face into upper face and lower face. Okay? So, yung inyong area ng lower lid, lahat ng nasa taas ng lower lid nyo, upper face. Lahat ng nasa baba ng lower lid ninyo would be, eyelid ninyo would be lower face. You now have the 4 quadrants of your face. Now, on the right side, okay, of course, you have there your, motor to your face will be your facial nerve. So you have a facial motor nucleus, which is cranial nerve number 7, somatic division. So somatic division, skeletal muscle ang kanyang sinusuplayan. You'll have your facial motor nucleus. Bakit po dalawa yan? Bakit may kulay na blue at kulay na green? Your facial motor nucleus is divided into upper facial motor nucleus and lower facial motor nucleus. So, ito yung nerve cell body, yung kulay blue, ng upper facial motor nucleus. Siyempre, ito yung kanyang axon. It will innervate the upper face. It will innervate the upper face. Samantalang, yung lower facial motor nucleus, bakit? it will innervate the lower face. So it will innervate the lower face. Kaya, pag sinira mo, for example, ang facial motor nucleus, meron kang Bell's palsy. Sinira mo yung buong facial motor nuclei. Sinira mo yan. Pag sinira mo yan, ang tendency is wala ka nang marirelease na acetylcholine dito sa upper face, wala kang marirelease na acetylcholine sa lower face. Pag Bell's palsy. Kaya tendency, kumusta yung iyong lid dito sa left side. Diba? At kumusta yung angle of the mouth mo sa left side. Magkakaroon ngayon ng lagging of your angle of the lip or angle of the mouth on the left side and your lid. Okay? The lateral lid, maglalag yan on the left side if you have affected the facial motor nucleus on the left side. And that will be considered a lower motor neuron lesion at the level of the brainstem. Yung mismong brainstem, di ba? Ito yung diyan mismo sa nucleus na yan, ng cranial nerve number 7, sinira mo yung left side. Ito yung nasirang left side, yung motor nucleus. Kaya yung upper and lower facial motor nuclei hindi makaka-release ng acetylcholine. Again, if you would remember your lecture in muscle physiology during the first sem, walang acetylcholine, walang magbabind sa nicotinic receptor, walang end plate potential, walang action potential, walang muscle contraction, then anong pangyayari sa muscle dyan sa upper and lower face? Mag-atrophy, magfa-fasciculation, magfi-fibrillation. Remember them in your skeletal muscle physiology, the difference between fibrillation and fasciculation. Diba? Tapos, anong magkakaroon? Bukod sa immediate atrophy, bukod sa fasciculation and fibrillation. Okay? Pag nag-elicit ka ng reflexes sa face mo, wala. It is zero. It is areflexia. Tapos, flaccid paralysis yan. Walang acetylcholine eh. Flaccid yun. Diba? Lower motor neuron lesion yun at the level of the brainstem. So, hindi lang siya lower motor neuron lesion at the level of the spinal cord. You also have a lower motor neuron lesion at the level of the brainstem. So, next, i-apply natin yung erase natin yan. Yung si lesion dyan. Erase natin yung lesion dyan. Hoy, may erase ka lesion. May erase ka lesion. May erase ka lesion. May erase ka lesion. Erase natin unti-unti yung lesion dyan. Ayan. Okay na ulit siya. So, tapos erase na lang natin to. Tanggalin natin yan. So, anong meron? So, pag-usapan naman natin yung muna natin yan to. Okay. Pag-usapan naman natin yung corticobulbar tract. Okay. This is now your upper motor neuron. Diba? Remember, corticobulbar tract supplies the ipsi and the contralateral side. So, the right corticobulbar tract supplies the upper facial motor nucleus on the ipsilateral, and it also supplies the upper facial motor nucleus on the contralateral side. Plus, it will also supply the lower facial motor nucleus on the contralateral side. So, basically, the right corticobulbar tract or the corticobulbar tract on that side supplies the upper facial motor nucleus ipsilaterally, and contralaterally sinusupplyan niya yung upper and lower facial motor nuclei. So, ganun din sa left side. Sa left side, it supplies the what? The ipsilateral upper facial motor nucleus and the contralateral upper and lower facial motor nuclei. Okay? So, nakuha. Okay? Yung corticobulbar tract supplies bilaterally the upper facial motor nuclei. Okay? Samantalang the lower facial motor lower facial motor nucleus gets its influence or supply from the contralateral corticobulbar tract. Kaya nga pagka nagkaroon ka ng lesion, okay, affecting your, for example, right corticobulbar tract, okay, anong mangyayari? Will you have paralysis on the upper face? Will you have paralysis on the upper face? What about the lower face? Will you have paralysis on the lower face? Will you have paralysis on the lower face? Pag meron kayong paralysis on the upper face, saan? Ipsilateral, contralateral, or bilateral? Pag meron kayong paralysis on the lower face, nasaan? Ipsilateral, contralateral, or bilateral? So, yan yung mga pag-uusapan natin on the 1-hour meeting by next week, by November 9. Diba? Pag-usapan natin yan, tingnan natin kung meron kayong naiintindihan sa lecture na ito. Okay? Hindi ko yan sasabihin ang sagot ngayon. Kailangan i-analyze ninyo yan. Kailangan nyo mag-recite by November 9 or else tigok ang exam ninyo. Pag hindi nyo naintindihan ito, lumabas yan sa board exam nila. Di ba? Lumabas ito sa board exam nila. Kaya pag hindi nyo ito naiintindihan ngayon, hindi nyo ito maiintindihan ever. Bakit? Sa higher years, hindi na yan gaano i-emphasize because they think that you already know that now. Okay? So, pagsama-samahin natin ang lahat ng alam ninyo. Pagsama-samahin natin ang lahat ng alam ninyo. Ito ulit yung cerebrum. Ito ulit yung thalamus. Diba? I-synthesize natin ang lahat ng alam ninyo. Ito ulit yung midbrain. Ito ulit yung pons. Ito ulit yung medulla oblongata. Ito ulit yung spinal cord, spinal cord, spinal cord. Ayan ulit yung spinal cord niya. Diba? This is the right side. This is the left side. What if I will have an embolus on my right middle cerebral artery? Okay. Nagkaroon ako ng lesion sa aking nilagyan ko, sinulat ko yung MCA tapos in-erase ko siya. What about if I will have a lesion on my right? Ay, bakit ganon? This is MCA. I will have a lesion on my right middle cerebral artery. Ano ang nasira kong tract? Ano yung manifestation ko ngayon? On my face. Okay? Sa face ko, ano yung manifestation ko? Remember, na pag-aralan nyo sa neuroanatomy, if the lesion is supratentorial, alam niyo yung tentorium cerebelli, di ba? Anything above the tentorium cerebelli will be supratentorial. Anything below the tentorium cerebelli will be infratentorial. Pag infratentorial, specifically, we talk about the brainstem, the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata. Pag supratentorial, ano yung mga structures above the tentorium cerebelli? Your cerebrum and your basal nuclei and your thalami. Yung inyong diencephalon. Thalamus specifically, kasi sila yung nagpa-participate in the descending fiber and ascending fiber tracts. Nagsira tayo ng middle cerebral artery. Ano yun? Supratentorial, infratentorial lesion. Hindi ba? Napag-aralan ninyo if this is the right and this is the left. Diba? Ito yung ulo, yung katawan. Diba? Again, the right, this is the left. Ito yung ulo, ito yung katawan. Diba? O, pag supratentorial lesion, supratentorial. Ito, infratentorial, particularly the brainstem. Supratentorial, infratentorial, particularly the brainstem. Now, if the lesion is supratentorial, manifestation on the face, halimbawa, sinira mo right side. Manifestation on the face will be contralateral. Manifestation on the body will be contralateral. So, contralateral face, contralateral body. Whether it is motor or sensory. Diba? Samantalang, excuse me, pagka brainstem lesion, okay, you destroy the right side, manifestation on the face will be ipsilateral to the lesion, manifestation on the body will be contralateral to the lesion. Pag motor yan, ang tawag natin, alternating hemiparesis or alternating hemiplegia. Plegia for paralysis. Paresis for weakness. Diba? Hemi is kalahati. So, pagka brainstem lesion, ang manifestation natin, same side on the face, contralateral on the body. Pagka ang lesion natin, supratentorial, ang manifestation on the face will be contralateral, ang manifestation on the body will also be contralateral. Diba? So, erasin natin yan. Balikan nyo na lang yan. Ha? Erasin natin. Napag-aralan nyo yan saan? Sa neuroanatomy. Pinag-aralan nyo yan sa neuroanatomy. Diba? O ngayon, ano yung lesion natin? Ang lesion natin ay right middle cerebral artery. Ano yan? Supratentorial, infratentorial. So, ano yung manifestation sa face? Ano ang manifestation sa body? Ipsilateral o contralateral? Sagutin nyo, hindi ko yan sasagutin ngayon para at least naiintindihan ninyo, para kung di nyo naiintindihan, may isang oras pa tayo sa November 9 na mag-discuss about this. Diba? Or meron pa tayong discussion na 1 hour next meeting para mag-discuss about this. Okay? So, pag nagsira ka ng right middle cerebral artery, ano yung posture ng pasyente ng paralysis? Will it be decorticate or will it be decerebrate? Pag sinabi nating decorticate, ibig sabihin decorticate. Ibig sabihin naka-flex yung upper extremity, naka-extend yung lower extremities. Meaning, naka-flex yung distal portion ng upper extremity, naka-extend yung distal portion ng ating lower extremity. Pag sinabi naman nating decerebrate, ano yon? Naka-extend pareho, upper and lower extremities. Paano nyo malalaman? Ano ulit ang function ng medial corticospinal tract? Ano ulit ang function ng lateral corticospinal tract? Ano ulit ang function ng rubrospinal tract? Ano ulit ang function ng reticulospinal tract? Ano ulit ang function ng vestibulospinal tract? Ano ulit ang mga function nila? Sino ang nagfa-facilitate ng flexion? Sino ang nagfa-facilitate ng extension? Ang sinira mo ay middle cerebral artery. So, anong sinira mo? Yung tract na galing sa cerebrum. Sinabi ko kanina kung ano yung mga tracts na galing sa cerebrum. Diba? Ano nga yung mga tracts na galing sa cerebrum? So, anong sinira mo? Ano ang function nila? Meron pa bang ibang magfe-flex sa upper extremity? Meron pa bang magfe-flex na ibang tract sa lower extremity? Nasira mo ba yung mga tracts na galing sa brainstem? Yan yung mga tanong na dapat niyong sagutin para umaandar ang utak ninyo, hindi lang kayo nakikinig sa lecture na ito. balikan nyo, mag-rewind kayo para alam ninyo kung naka-decorticate ang pasyente ninyo o naka-decerebrate ang pasyente ninyo. Dapat hindi ko yan sinasabi sa ngayon, ina-apply natin yung pinakinggan nyo kanina na sinasabi ko at inaantok pa kayo kanina. What about if my lesion, on the other hand, will be at the level of the midbrain, upper midbrain? O upper midbrain. O hindi ba? Pagka brainstem ang lesion, anong sabi natin? Ipsilateral ang face, contralateral ang body. Pero lagi bang ipsilateral ang face? O, nung ako ay nag-destroy ng ating right upper midbrain, ano ang cranial nerve na nag-i-emerge sa upper midbrain? Anong cranial nerve? Dahil doon, ano yung manifestation mo sa face? Will I have paralysis? O ano yung will I have paralysis on the ipsilateral face or contralateral face? Will I have paralysis on the ipsilateral face or contralateral face? Yan yung mga i-discuss natin next meeting. Dapat ngayon pa lang, alam nyo na ang sagot dyan para at least mabilis tayo next meeting. Kasi pag hindi, patay na naman. Kulang ang oras na naman. Dapat ngayon pa lang nag-iisip na kayo para at least alam ninyo ang sagot dito sa mga tanong ko. What about my lower face? Meron ba akong manifestation? What about my tongue? Saan naka-deviate yung tongue ng pasyente ninyo, yung dila ng pasyente ninyo, upon protrusion and upon retraction? Remember your corticobulbar tract? Corticobulbar tract. Speaking of corticobulbar tract, yung corticobulbar tract ninyo, nasira din ba siya? Yung rubrospinal tract ninyo ngayon na meron kayong lesion sa midbrain. What about your reticulo and vestibulospinal tract? Sira din ba sila? So, nasaan ang paralysis ninyo? Anong laterality? Right side, left side? Ano ang positioning ng pasyente nyo ngayon? Will it be decorticate or decerebrate? Okay? Sabihin natin, ang nasira mo ngayon ay upper midbrain. Sabihin natin, buo. You have an intact corticospinal tract. You have an intact corticobulbar tract. Di ba bababa sila? Makakababa ba sila? Pag-isipan nyo yan. Kasi bilang doktor, dapat nag-iisip kayo. Bakit ito ang manifestation ng pasyente ko? Bakit naka-decorticate? Bakit naka-decerebrate? Nasaan yung lesion ko? May manifestation ba ako sa muka? Sa upper face ko, may manifestation ba? Nasaang side? Ipsi, kontra. Sa lower face ko, may manifestation ba? Nasaan? Ipsi, kontra. Lahat ng sagot ng tinatanong ko will be based on the lecture a while ago, will be based on the lecture previously. Hindi kami basta-basta, alam nyo naman ako, pag nagle-lecture ako, ina-apply natin sa totoong buhay. Bakit? Sabi ko palagi, pag kayo ay naging doktor, ina-apply natin yung napag-aralan natin, hindi lang natin basta mini-memorize, ina-apply natin. Lahat ng napag-aaralan ninyo, magmula elementary, high school, pre-med course, and now in medicine, you would have to apply them. Diba? What about if I will have, sabihin natin, ulit, normal ulit lahat yan. Ngayon, meron ka naman, hemisection of your spinal cord. Ay, naku, nga pala. Naka-eraser nga pala siya. Ngayon naman, meron ka hemisection of the spinal cord. Sabihin natin, kalahati ng spinal cord mo nasira at the level of, sabihin natin, at the level of C5 hanggang Sabihin na natin, T1, sige. Yung buong brachial plexus mo. Nasira. Ano yung manifestation ko ipsilaterally at the level of the lesion? Ano yung manifestation ko ipsilaterally below the lesion, contralaterally below the lesion? Take note, pinagsama na ito, di ba? Ang anterior natin, motor in function, ang posterior natin, sensory in function. Pagsamahin natin ngayon, meron kang sensory at motor manifestation. We emphasize on the motor manifestation. So, ano yung manifestation ko dyan? At the level of the lesion, will it be upper motor neuron lesion or lower motor neuron lesion? At the level. Below the level of the lesion, will I have upper motor neuron lesion or will I have a lower motor neuron lesion? Below the level of the lesion. Below T1. So, yun yung mga T2 below. Ano yung manifestation ko? Will I have decorticate or will I have decerebrate rigidity? Or paralysis, should I say. Yan yung mga things to contemplate based doon sa napag-aralan ninyo. Okay? So basically, makikita ninyo ngayon kung kung ano yung manifestations ng mga paano, bakit nagmamanifest ang pasyente ng mga ganyan pag may mga neuro problems. Okay? So erase natin. Punta tayo dito ngayon. Okay? Puntahan naman natin ito. Brainstem ninyo, tandaan ninyo, ventral aspect. Di ba? Ventral aspect ng brainstem ninyo, yung midbrain, yung pons, yung medulla oblongata. Ito yung cranial nerve number 2 ninyo Optic nerve, optic chiasm yan Ito yung chiasm, ito yung nerve. Ito yung interpeduncular fossa, diyan nag-i-emerge yung cranial nerve number 3. Diba? Ito cranial nerve number 6 ito. Ito yung basilar sulcus na may basilar artery. Diba? Iyon nasa angle nasa mismong angle, cranial nerve number. Tapos ito nakausli, cranial nerve number. Dapat sa neuroanatomy ninyo na pag-aaralan nyo siya ngayon, di ba? Dapat nakikita nyo siya ngayon personally. Ito, cranial nerve number, galing sa likod, pupunta sa harap. Nakikita nyo yan supposedly ngayon. Pag may face-to-face, kaso wala. Yan yung mga hindi ninyo nararanasan ngayon, na nakikita ngayon. Di ba? This is the ventral aspect again. Diba? Yan naman yung dorsal aspect. Ito yung dalawang superior colliculi, ito yung dalawang inferior colliculi. So dapat alam nyo ito ngayon, di ba? Ayan yung cranial nerve. Ayan cranial nerve yan. So dapat nakikita nyo yan sa tunay na buhay. Di ba? Ito coming from Bernoulli, your different tracts. Okay? Your corticospinal tract with your rubrospinal tract. And this is your extrapyramidal system. Of course, rubrospinal is also part of extrapyramidal system. Kaso nga lang kay Bernoulli, pinakita niya lang that at the level of the spinal cord, okay, sinasamahan ni lateral corticospinal tract, si rubrospinal tract, para maging lateral descending pathways. Yung undecossated fibers naman ng corticospinal tract, that's the medial or the anterior or the ventral corticospinal tract, sasamahan niya yung mga medial descending pathways. Okay? Ito yung level ng spinal cord ninyo. Yan yung nerve cell body. Okay? Tapos ito yung kanyang yung kanyang axon na magre-release ng acetylcholine. That's motor. Okay? That is motor. Okay? Siyempre, ito yung sensory division. Yan yung posterior root ganglion ninyo. Diba? So, nakikita ninyo yung mga Renshaw cells. Di ba? That will be inhibitory, generally inhibitory. Okay? To your interneurons. So, you will see here the lamination of your at the level of your spinal cord. Makikita nyo dyan na yung flexors ninyo in your anterior horn, okay, they are represented on the medial side. Yung extensors ninyo, on the other hand, will be represented on the lateral side. Kaya pag meron kayong lesion on the medial side, then you'll have more on flexor manifestation. Pag lateral side, you will have more on extensor manifestations. Pag may mga tumor-tumor or may mga compression sa mismong spinal cord. Okay? Again, the representation at the level of your spinal cord, at your anterior horn cells. Okay? The lateral, okay, ito yung lateral. It represents the distal extremities. Yung medial, okay, will be represented by the medial side of the spinal cord. Will also represent the medial aspect of your body. Okay? So your alpha motor neuron innervates the entire muscle fiber. The gamma motor neuron innervates your intrafusal fibers. So pag entire muscle fiber, ito yung entire muscle fiber. Sa loob niyan, meron kang muscle spindle, or pag motor ang pinag-uusapan natin, then we call them your intrafusal fibers. Okay? Yung nasa loob na yan, pwede siyang sensory in function, pwede siyang motor in function. So, pwede siyang receptor, pwede siyang effector at the same time. That's your muscle spindle. Kunin natin mamaya. Okay? So, again, your corticobulbar and your corticospinal tract, 60% of which comes from the motor area, 40% of which comes from the parietal association areas. Your lateral corticospinal tract, that's 80 to 90%. Okay? And they will be responsible for the lateral, for the distal extremities. Particularly, more on that's lateral corticospinal tract, more on the lower extremities. Yung medial corticospinal tract ang more of the upper extremities. Plus, the medial corticospinal tract regulates the anti-gravity muscles. With your extrapyramidal system, okay, they regulate the anti-gravity muscles. So postural yon. This is Babinski. Normal sila sa bata. Pero pag sa matanda, nag-appear yan, then it is a sign of upper motor neuron lesion, your Babinski's response or your Babinski's reflex. How do you elicit them? You have your IPD, you have your blunt end of your neurohammer. You strike them from the inferior sole, from the inferior surface of the sole, going up on the lateral side, then at the level of the base of the phalanges, you go towards the big toe. Go towards the medial side. From lateral to medial. The normal response is plantar flexion. Okay? The normal response is plantar flexion. But, if there is an upper motor neuron lesion, that's a positive Babinski. Dorsiflexion of the big toe and abduction of the other toes. You can also elicit Babinski's responses by yung mga different Babinski's tests or Babinski's like tests, should I say. Okay, I have taken them from Wikipedia. That's the most complete. Okay? Although hindi ganun ka-reliable kasi ang Wikipedia. Okay? But I have surveyed at nakita ko yung Wikipedia will give me the complete Babinski's like responses. So yan yung mga Bings, Cornell, Shadok, kung paano mo siya ini-elicit. Okay? You will still have the same response. Ganyan pa rin yung response. This is just how you elicit them. Okay? So, wag na lang. So, with regards to your motor system, to actually, ano lang naman yan, a review of the descending fiber tracts. Okay? We focus more on the final common pathway. So, ang final common pathway natin will be from motor neuron innervating your skeletal muscle. Yan yung ating final common pathway. Okay? So, you have your stretch receptors, your muscle spindle, and your Golgi tendon. So, pag ito yung iyong muscle, diba? You know that the muscle, ito yung origin, ito yung insertion. So, you know that they will insert as a tendon. So, anong meron? Bakit ko sinasabi yan? Kasi yung Golgi tendon organ ninyo or Golgi tendon receptor ninyo, nandiyan dyan sa may tendon kung saan nag-insert yung muscle. Samantalang yung muscle spindle naman ninyo, nandito sa loob ng muscle belly. So, they are both stretch receptors, right? So, they are both stretch receptors. When you stretch the muscle from origin to insertion, ini-stretch mo na ganon, anong nangyayari dito sa Golgi tendon? O, edi, magiging ganyan. I'm sorry. Edi, magiging ganyan. Di ba? Iiksi sila. O. Samantalang itong, itong muscle spindle, sila yung may stretch. Pag in-stretch mo yung muscle, paano kung, what about if? Paano naman kung ang ginawa mo naman, paano? Paano naman kung ang ginawa mo, you contracted the muscle. So, pag contraction ng muscle, from insertion going to origin. Hindi nakikita yun. From insertion going to origin. Ganyan. Edi, ano ngayon ang mangyayari? Edi, ang ini-stretch mo naman ngayon, this time, will be the Golgi tendon. Ano naman ang ginagawa mo sa muscle spindle? Sila naman yung, pinaiksi mo, ginanyan mo lalo ang muscle spindle naman. Pinaiksi mo naman yung muscle spindle. So, they are both stretch. When you stretch the muscle, what do you stretch? The muscle spindle. When you contract the muscle, what do you stretch? The Golgi tendon. And you have your differences. Okay? Again, the muscle spindle is found within the muscle fiber. Hindi makita. Within the muscle fiber. Yung Golgi tendon ninyo, ayan, nasa insertion. Diba? So, yan ulit yung Golgi tendon ninyo. Yung kanyang sensory innervation ay 1B. Okay? Samantalang 1A and 2 ang sensory innervation ng inyong muscle spindle. Okay? Arrangement, the shape, the location. Okay? At saka ito yung stimulus ninyo. The stimulus to muscle spindle is stretch. When you stretch them, it detects the muscle length. So what will be the response? You contract. There will be muscle shortening. Samantalang pag Golgi tendon, siyempre nasa insertion siya. Yung kanyang shape, yung kanyang arrangement, yung kanyang sensory innervation. And what is the stimulus? When you contract, you stretch the Golgi tendon. Pinakita natin kanina. What does it do? It will monitor the muscle tension while the muscle is contracting. What will be the response? Pagkatapos mag-contract, syempre contraction yung kanyang stimulus, di i-relax niya yung muscle. Ganon siya. Okay? So, ito yung inyong loob ng muscle spindle. Okay? You would see here, coming from Guyton, okay? Basically, this is your muscle spindle and at the same time, it is your intrafusal fibers. Muscle spindle siya pag receptor. Siya ay receptor and at the same time, siya ay effector. Siya ay special because, di ba, yung iba receptor lang sila or effector lang sila. Pero yung muscle spindle ninyo, we call them muscle spindle if we refer to them as a receptor. We call them intrafusal fibers if we refer to them as an effector. Kaya makikita ninyo, your muscle spindle or your slash and or your intrafusal fibers, meron siyang nuclear bag at saka nuclear chain. Diba? Chain kasi bakit? The nuclei or the nerve cell bodies are arranged in rows or columns. Okay, if they are arranged in clusters, then you call them nuclear bag. Okay? And you would see here, bakit sila both sensory and motor? Ayan, no? Oh. Group 1A, Group 2, di ba? Muscle spindle yan. Di ba? Muscle spindle yan. Group 1A, Group 2, o di muscle spindle yan. Di ba? Oh. So, basically, Group 1A innervates the bag and the chain, while your Group 2 innervates only the chain. So, anong nag-i-innervate sa chain? Oh, ayan, no? The Group 1A innervates the bag and the chain. Group 2 innervates the chain. Ano nag-i-innervate sa chain? If we refer to the nuclear bag and nuclear chain as muscle spindle. What about, by the way, yung Group 1A is primary afferent. This is annulospiral. Group 2 is secondary afferent. That is flower spray. Group 1A will be for dynamic monitoring. So habang nagkakaroon ng dynamic contractions, that's eccentric concentric contractions, then minomonitor yan ng Group 1A, your primary afferents. Samantalang pag static contractions, okay, that will be monitored by Group 2, sensory neurons. So the nuclear bag and nuclear chain, pag na-refer natin as muscle spindle, they're innervated by 1A and Group 2. However, your nuclear bag and nuclear chain, if we refer to them as an effector, therefore, pag effector, motor neurons ang nag-i-innervate sa kanya. Ayan ka ngayon. Efferent, that's motor neurons. So you'll have your static gamma fiber and you have your dynamic gamma fiber. Pag dynamic, minomonitor yung dynamic efferent, your gamma motor neuron, monitors only the nuclear bag. Pag nuclear bag lang ang minomonitor niya, plate ending. Pag nuclear chain and bag, then it's trail ending. So, pag motor innervation niya, yung gamma motor neuron, ini-innervate niya, nuclear bag and nuclear chain, trail ending ang tawag natin doon. Pag yung gamma motor neuron, ang ini-innervate niya lang, nuclear bag, plate ending. So dito, pag plate ending, dynamic. Bag lang yon. Pag static, then it's bag and chain. Trail ending yung motor neuron. As compared pag sensory, pag receptor sila. Pag receptor sila, muscle spindle. So yung bag and chain, dynamic, 1A. Pag chain lang, static, group 2. So nakita niyo yung difference. Pag motor, dynamic, bag lang. Pag dynamic sa sensory, bag and chain. Pag static sa motor, bag and chain. Pag static sa sensory, chain lang. Ganun lang yon, ha? So, you'll see here your bag and chain again. Clusters, ito, single file, rows or columns. So, yan na yung sinabi natin. And then, of course, a reflex. A reflex is made up of, you stimulate the receptor. The receptor is innervated by sensory neuron. Okay? The sensory neuron will convey the impulses to your center at this level. Spinal cord yung center natin. Pwede din naman, pagka sa level ng brainstem, meron kayong brainstem reflex, then yung center ninyo can be midbrain, pons, and or medulla oblongata. The sensory neuron can directly synapse with the motor neuron. So, ilang synapse lang yon. Pagka diretso siyang nag-synapse sa motor neuron, ito lang yung synapse niya, isa lang. Or, pwede naman, meron kang gagamitin na interneuron. Diba? Pag interneuron, ang ginamit niya, di ilang synapse meron ka. Pwedeng dalawa, or pwedeng madami. More than one. More than two, should I say. Diba? Tapos, from the interneurons, it will now innervate your impulses will now reach your motor neuron. the motor neuron will innervate your effector. So from receptor to sensory neuron to center, you can have an interneuron or diretso sa motor neuron, then you'll have your effector. Okay? Ganon yung reflex. Okay? There are some fibers that goes up so that you would know that there is a contraction of your muscle. Okay? So for consciousness, pero you already have your reflex bago pa man mag-enter. Di ba? Parang knee-jerk. Nagkaroon na ng extension of the leg, saka mo nalaman na merong na nag-extend ang leg mo. So again, your primary ending, sensory neurons, okay? Innervating muscle spindle. So 1A yan. Annulospiral yan. Diba? They innervate both the bag and the chain. So dynamic, so velocity sensitive. Flower spray, secondary yon. 1, 2 yon. Static, so they will monitor, they are not sensitive to rate changes of muscle length. Static length kasi, di ba? Again, yung mga interneurons ninyo, the interplay, again, the gamma motor neurons that will innervate intrafusal fibers. Ang intrafusal fibers, pag sensory, you call them muscle spindle. And again, the entire muscle, pag buong muscle ang ini-innervate niya, then it's your alpha. Pag gamma, ang ini-innervate niya loob, intrafusal fibers. Yan lang yung motor unit ulit natin, the motor neuron and all the muscle fiber they innervate. Then you call them your motor unit. At ano nga yun? Based on size principle, ano nga yung ating inuunang ma-recruit? The small motor units. Diba? Bago yung large. Differences between reflexes, voluntary movement, and rhythmic motor patterns. And again, the components of your reflex. Okay. So, yung components ng reflexes ninyo ulit. Okay? Yung mga sensory organ natin, yung mga receptor natin, di ba? This is receptor. Pwede naman pag pain, anong receptor mo sa pain? Kaya nauna yung sensory ninyo na i-lecture bago motor. Di ba? Yung inyong components ng reflex. Again, dynamic stretch. It opposes sudden changes in length. Okay? So commonly, there are stronger reflex activity. Static, commonly weak ito. Okay? It will send continuous signals, static signals. Pag nagpupush ka ng masyadong, or pag nagbubuhat ka ng hindi mo kayang buhatin, or magpupush ka ng hindi mo kayang i-push. Example, push the wall of your room. Tingnan natin kung kaya mong i-push. Unless Incredible Hulk ka, Superman ka, then kaya mo yon. So you'll have your different myotatic, your different spinal reflexes sa spinal cord ito. Pwede din naman sa brainstem. Myotatic stretch. So basically inverse myotatic. So ito myotatic ito. Pag inverse myotatic, ano ito? Myotatic. So you will cause extensions. Pag nag-extend ka, edi nag-contract ka ng muscle nun. So anong gagawin mo? Inverse myotatic, i-relax mo. So ang end result nito, contraction. Ang end result nito, relaxation. Ang stimulus mo ng stretch reflex, stretch. Kaya nga stretch. Inverse stretch or autogenic inhibition. Bakit autogenic inhibition? Kasi while you are, for example, while you are stimulating the flexor muscles, you are inhibiting the extensor muscles. Kaya meron tayong autogenic inhibition. And syempre, pag withdrawal reflex, this is more commonly a flexor reflex. Hindi ka nagugulat na nag-e-extend ka. Nagugulat ka na nag-flex ka. Initially, nag-flex ka bago ka nag-e-extend. Kaya wag nyo kaming pipilosopohin na nagulat ka, nag-extend ka kaagad. No. Pag ginulat ka, hindi ba ang una mong ginawa na you moved away from the perceived injurious stimulus. Okay? Lumayo ka muna sa piniperceive mong makakasakit sa'yo. Then that will be flexor. Bago nung nag-come into your consciousness ka, at nakita mo na ginulat ka lang, saka ka nag-extend. Saka mo sila suntok. Ganun yon. So again, your myotatic, the stimulus, the receptor, the afferent neuron, the center, the efferent neuron. So mapapansin ninyo, pag muscle spindle ang inyong receptor, ang inyong motor neuron ay both alpha and gamma. Again, kasi ang muscle spindle, pag motor, ang tawag natin sa kanya, intrafusal. Diba? So you both innervate or you both activate the alpha and the gamma. Pansinin nyo yan pag siya ay hindi muscle spindle. If it is not muscle spindle, so tingnan natin yung hindi muscle spindle. If it is not muscle spindle, it's Golgi tendon organ. Tingnan ninyo, walang gamma. So if you do not stimulate the muscle spindle, then you don't activate gamma motor neurons. You only activate alpha motor neurons. O tingnan ninyo sa flexor reflex, sa withdrawal, o nociceptor yan, di ba? Fast pain, kaya type 1, type A delta. O meron bang extra intrafusal? Wala, extrafusal lang meron. Basta hindi muscle spindle ang iyong receptor, hindi ka mag-activate ng gamma motor neuron. You will only activate alpha motor neuron. Okay? O yan yung withdrawal reflex ninyo. Multisynaptic or polysynaptic siya as compared with myotatic, which is monosynaptic, and your inverse myotatic, which is disynaptic. Okay? I believe that's the last slide. Okay? Activity nyo yan. Okay? So that will be all. Thank you for listening. We still have another meeting. Tingnan natin kung talagang naintindihan ninyo. I will give you cases at sagutin natin yung mga cases na or yung mga questions na pinost ko kanina. Tingnan natin kung naintindihan ninyo ako. Thank you and good day. Sana kahit paano may i-apply kayo at sana sagutin ninyo yung mga tanong ko para sa susunod na meeting natin, naiintindihan nyo siya, or else pagdating ng quiz ninyo, unit test, at pagdating ng major exam ninyo, patay. At tandaan ninyo, I'm not doing this para pahirapan kayo. I'm doing this para alam ninyo ang manifestation ng pasyente ninyo, plus sa board exam, tinatanong ito, tatandaan ninyo. Okay? That will be all. Good day and God bless. Stop sharing and then stop.